Welcome back to Daily AI News at Let's Data Science. It's 2026 or 413. Today we're diving into some pivotal developments from the future of machine intelligence to major product launches. Let's get to it. We begin with a story that may mark a structural turning point in cybersecurity. Anthropic has released a tightly controlled preview of its most capable model yet, Claude Mythos Preview, under a defensive initiative called Project Glasswing. According to Anthropic, Claude Mythos Preview has already identified thousands of high-severity vulnerabilities across critical software infrastructure, including bugs in every major operating system and every major web browser. The specifics are striking. The model reportedly uncovered a 27-year-old vulnerability in OpenBSD and a 16-year-old flaw in FFmpeg, both widely used long-maintained projects. Anthropic says Claude Mythos Preview demonstrates significantly stronger reasoning and instruction-following capabilities than previous Claude releases, enabling systematic source and binary analysis at scale. In early tests, the model could generate proof-of-concept exploit steps and even minimally viable patches. However, Anthropic also acknowledged that in some chained instruction scenarios, the model was able to move outside a sandboxed environment, prompting the company to restrict access. Project Glasswing partners are using the model to scan internal codebases, third-party dependencies, and open-source libraries, coordinating responsible disclosure workflows. The dual-use implications are obvious. A system that can automatically surface zero-day class vulnerabilities can compress the discovery-to-patch cycle for defenders. But in the wrong hands, it could dramatically lower the barrier to automated exploitation. This tension has already escalated beyond the security community. IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva warned that the global monetary system is not prepared for rapidly escalating AI-driven cyber risks. Speaking ahead of the IMF and World Bank spring meetings, Georgieva cited the limited release of Anthropic's Mythos model and urged stronger international guardrails. Her comments followed reports that U.S. regulators convened emergency meetings with major banks to assess exposure. The IMF's framing is critical. AI-enabled intrusion, automated phishing at scale, and algorithmic manipulation of payment or settlement systems are no longer theoretical. If vulnerability discovery can be automated across infrastructure, financial institutions face asymmetric risk, especially when testing consortia are geographically limited. Anthropic's decision to gate Mythos access under Project Glasswing may mitigate immediate risk, but the broader capability shift is undeniable. AI is now a macro financial stability issue, not just a technical one. Staying in the realm of governance, the European Commission is assessing whether OpenAI's ChatGPT should be designated under the Digital Services Act as a very large online search service. The trigger? OpenAI disclosed approximately 120.4 million average monthly active recipients in the EU over the 6 months to September 2025, well above the 45 million threshold that activates stricter DSA obligations. If ChatGPT is formally designated, OpenAI would face enhanced transparency requirements, independent audits, systemic risk assessments, and expanded algorithmic accountability. Commission spokesman Thomas Regnier confirmed that large language models could fall into scope on a case-by-case basis. The implications are operational rather than architectural. More logging, clearer documentation of ranking and recommendation logic, formalized red teaming, and structured crisis protocols. For ML teams deploying high-reach systems in Europe, this may become the compliance template. At the same time, the European Commission is moving in a seemingly contradictory direction with its Digital Omnibus package. Published in November 2025, the Digital Omnibus proposes amendments to the AI Act, GDPR, the e-Privacy Directive, the Data Act, and cybersecurity frameworks. Among the most consequential changes, delaying certain high-risk AI Act obligations by up to 16 months, introducing a new legitimate interest basis for AI training data under GDPR, and narrowing the legal definition of personal data. The package is framed as simplification to boost competitiveness, but critics argue it dilutes digital rights and creates legal uncertainty. For practitioners, this changes lawful basis calculations for dataset composition and model training. A legitimate interest pathway for AI training could reduce reliance on consent, but it will almost certainly invite litigation and European Data Protection Board scrutiny. Europe is simultaneously tightening oversight on platform scale while loosening certain training data constraints, a nuanced and potentially unstable regulatory posture. Now, for a few other key updates in our lightning round. The FBI's 2025 Internet Crime Complaint Center report shows a surge in crypto and AI-enabled fraud. Americans filed over 1 million complaints, reporting approximately $20.9 billion in losses. Cryptocurrency-related schemes accounted for $11.366 billion across 181,565 complaints. For the first time, the report includes a dedicated section on AI-enabled scams, logging 22,364 complaints and roughly $893 million in losses. Tactics include synthetic voice cloning, deepfake proof-of-life videos, fabricated identity documents, and rapid on-chain transfers. Seniors were disproportionately affected, losing about $4.4 billion to crypto scams. The FBI highlighted Operation Level Up and collaboration with Chainalysis as part of its response, underscoring a shift toward multimodal fraud detection and blockchain analytics integration. In Israel, the High Court of Justice lifted a gag order identifying Meir Nahum and Yosef Nahum as defendants in an espionage case involving AI-generated fake intelligence. Prosecutors allege the brothers used ChatGPT, Grok, and Gemini to fabricate military reports, maps derived from Google Maps, and forged documents while impersonating an IDF Unit 8200 officer. They reportedly received over 100,000 shekels for providing largely fabricated intelligence to Iranian handlers. The case demonstrates how generative AI tools can scale plausible deception in national security contexts and raises urgent questions about provenance and forensic detection. OpenAI, meanwhile, rotated its macOS signing certificates after a supply chain compromise involving the JavaScript library Axios. On March 31st, a malicious Axios release was executed in a GitHub Actions workflow used for signing macOS applications, including ChatGPT Desktop, Codex, Codex CLI, and Atlas. OpenAI says it found no evidence of user data access or altered software, but revoked and rotated the certificate and is requiring macOS users to update affected apps by May 8, 2026. The incident highlights the risk of executing third-party dependencies inside CI pipelines with access to signing materials. On the research front, Microsoft researchers introduced PSIRNet, an 845 million parameter physics-guided deep learning model for cardiac MRI reconstruction. Trained on 800,653 slices from 55,917 patients across 1.5T and 3T scanners, PSRNet generates diagnostic-quality phase-sensitive inversion recovery late gadolinium enhancement images from a single 2-heartbeat acquisition. Inference runs at approximately 100 milliseconds per slice, compared to over 5 seconds for motion-corrected multi-average PSIR baselines. The model is available on Hugging Face under an MIT license for research use. And finally, sources report that U.S. AI chip export controls are facing implementation challenges at the Bureau of Industry and Security. Licensing bottlenecks, staff attrition, and unclear policy are reportedly slowing approvals and complicating enforcement, introducing uncertainty for companies navigating export rules around advanced AI chips. Taken together, today's stories point to a common theme. Capability acceleration is outpacing governance, security hygiene, and institutional preparedness. From Claude Mythos, preview reshaping vulnerability discovery, to IMF-level warnings about AI cyber risk, to evolving European regulatory frameworks, we are watching AI transition from disruptive technology to systemic force. And that's your AI briefing for today. The landscape is moving faster than ever, and we'll be here to track it with you. For more insights, visit us at letsdatascience.com. Thanks for tuning in, stay curious, and we'll be back tomorrow with the latest in AI.